It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate, oh yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
And my name's Mike.
And this week, we're taking a trip back to X-Men 97, Mike. The nostalgia, the feels are already there. I watched a clip of them fighting Sentinels today, and boy, do they just nail it. Like, literally, to see that version of Beast, like the smart version, right? He's the intelligent version. Excuse me. And, like, he goes into the middle of a Sentinel and, like, controls it with the wires. I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. Very excited for this show. We'll talk more about it here at the top of the show. Venom 3 gets a last dance. And by that, it's the title. Mike, it's the title. As you can see in our show thumbnail, Spider-Man 2's canceled multiplayer footage leaks. This is a mouthful here. Spider-Man 2, the video game from Insomniac, had a canceled multiplayer game, and we have actual minutes-long footage of this before it was supposed to come out and it's leaked. So we'll talk about that and how disappointed we are that's really probably not happening and more.
And surprisingly, I just clicked on one of the links in our show notes. It's still up, still live. Like, I don't know where the DMC police are, or Sony doesn't care, so hopefully by the time you're listening to this you can click on those links and still go watch and check it out. It's weird, Chris, today is your literal birthday.
Yes, thank
so
you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Which is special for you, but slightly less special. My personal life is surrounded by lots of birthdays around this time of year, so I don't know what was happening 9 months ago, but my brother's birthday was yesterday. My mother-in-law's birthday was like 3 days ago. My wife's cousin, who we're pretty close with, their birthday is tomorrow. There's just a lot. The population is popping off in March. I don't know what's going on.
It's true. My two of the three people I regularly play Fortnite with, one's birthday was a week ago and the other one's next week. And my sister-in-law's birthday was last week. And we usually get our family together, has like a lunch together to celebrate both of our birthdays. We never get our own individual one, but it's fine. We'll take what we can get.
Yeah. So shout out to all of those March birthday listeners out there. Chris is we'll take a shot for each one of you.
Oh,
but you
my
have
goodness.
to you have to DM us so we know how many there are.
Yeah, it's true. Well, how about this? Well, Mike, instead of doing a shot, because it is also St. Patrick's Day, what if I do an Irish car bomb instead?
Oh, yeah, I forgot it was St. Patrick's Day. I actually do really like Irish car bombs. I mean, I'm not like a big novelty shot type of person. Yep. But I feel like all of the ingredients combined is fun. Before we took one of our first trips to Ireland a couple years ago, you look up those kind of do not do things when you go to different countries, and this one's like, do not go to a bartender in Ireland and order an Irish car bomb.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, I don't even know what to tell you if you really wanted one, how you would even order it. Because I feel like they would know. They're going to look at you with your American accent, see you ordering all of the ingredients, and just like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Well, I feel bad calling it an Irish car bomb because I'm like, is this an insensitive name for this drink now? Like, is there a better name to do this with?
I think it would be one of those things where if they wanted to adapt the name because it's like their nation's strife, they could do it. But over here in America, we're just like, oh, this is funny.
Well, okay.
The equivalent would be like some sort of like a 9/11 Twin Tower shot that like you take in London or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. The American terrorist shot, please, if you would.
Yeah.
But it's the other name for it, I just looked up. Irish Slammer is what they can call it as well.
Oh, okay.
But also, it was first served in Connecticut, so it's probably probably just don't like it.
It's really funny. If I had to riff on St. Patrick's Day, which I don't really have many memories or allegiance to, not a lot of nostalgia for this holiday growing up. I don't think a lot of parents like actively program St. Patrick's Day.
There's not St. Patrick's Day baskets full of snakes because that's when they ran them out of Ireland. I don't know.
I love that. I love that idea. But since I follow a lot of like, recipe and food and cook people on social media, they've all been like desperately trying to theme dishes to St. Patrick's Day. And I've just seen so many corned beef recipes of just like, oh, well, we know you want corned beef. And it's just like, you're talking to the wrong audience. I think some people in the United States, can get down on some corned beef, but you're really like narrowing your reach here this week, trying to embrace this holiday.
The things I will never Google corned beef together in the same thing. I'm like, I
would say the holiday did maybe inadvertently make a very westernized version of something we probably would both very much like, which is Irish nachos, which I believe is just loaded tater tots, but themed for the holiday. But those are always delicious.
Yeah, well, I like a shepherd's pie. If I had to associate that, I do enjoy that occasionally on a cold day. It's funny you mentioned novelty drinks. So yesterday we had some people over, and I had a recipe for a green champagne, Mike, because making green beer is not for me. I don't drink beer. So I was like, well, maybe we could do something classy, something people enjoy. So we got some like brut champagne, right? The real bubbly stuff. Mm-hmm. And it said mix it in with like a shot of Midori, which is melon liqueur. So we did that, and it is awful. I don't recommend this. The melon liquor is good. The champagne's good, but the aftertaste of the champagne with that is not pleasant at all.
I was expecting that to be a slam dunk, to be honest, especially if you have like sweet tooths like we do. But I guess too much of a good thing. Yeah. We are later in the show talking about the Batman film, which did briefly feature Irish actor Barry Keoghan. So we got we can like weave a little bit of maybe Irish topics into the show.
I've got a red beard.
I'm wearing green shorts while we record this right now, so I think that's about. I've maxed out any sort of Irish relevance I think I can do this week.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But how about this? Since it's St. Patrick, we can talk about green, because I want to give a shout out to my wife, because you know this, Mike. One of the things that defines me as a person is Halo, the video game, and Xboxes, and. Normally, I can usually predict what my wife's going to get me, because she's usually poking around a month or two in advance. I'm like, hey, what do you want? And in my video game collecting world, people know not to buy me stuff because like I might already have it, or might be on my list. So they're like, okay, well, we're not going to really touch that. We'll get you something that we know you don't have. But my wife got me a launch day original Xbox Halo edition that came out, the green one, the translucent green with the see-through green controller that says Halo on it, and it works. It plays games. I immediately fired up Halo 1 in the last night whenever I was looking at the save files. I'm like, who the hell are these people in here? But absolutely blew me away, because I've wanted one. I've been eyeballing a broken one for a while. I'm like, I can just swap the guts out for my working one, right? Like just change the shells. No big deal there. But she got me one working one, so now I'm up to 3 original Xboxes at work, Mike. I've got a problem, but the Halo one is like the pinnacle of this, and I'm very happy. So I'm very, very thrilled to give her a shout out for surprising me with something I didn't expect to get for my birthday. It's also green, so
yeah. That is a retro, iconic millennial aesthetic. Yeah. If I didn't catch it when you were describing it, it's the green one that is like translucent, where you can see through on the inside, and like they don't make them like they used to. I loved that. Like if I could get like if I was a person that like tinkered with my iPhone, like I know it would make it thicker to put an entirely plastic case around my iPhone. It would make it more fragile and crack easier. But if it was like a translucent plastic green, ooh, that'd be so sick.
Yeah, the clear craze of the 90s was just dying down. But the cool thing about this is this was the first Xbox. This wasn't like the second Xbox or the third. Like, nobody knew if Xbox was going to be worth a damn back then, or Halo, right? Like, nobody knew in 2000, 2001 what it was going to be. So, like, that was just a huge thing that, by the time you could get one, it was already too late. So to get one 23 years later that plays the discs is just phenomenal. I'm very hyped. This is very hyped me up for the day. So hype me up for the show, Mike. We're gonna get into this pretty good here from the get go.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So also, if you're watching live on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Smash that like button. No, I'm kidding. We don't need to do that here. We're not YouTubers yet. But we'll jump in. X-Men 97, Mike. 2-episode premiere starts this week. I'm pretty hyped for this. I've heard, not detailed reviews, but I've heard good things from people. But also, I also know to keep my blinders on, right? Rose tinted glasses for early reviewers. But very excited with the March 20th, Wednesday 2-episode debut on Disney Plus.
It was funny you were just talking about that clip that you watched and Beast jumping into a Sentinel, grabbing wires and controlling it. Like, this is the kind of like animation magic trick that I bring up on the show every once in a while, where there's just cool things that you can get away with in kind of a more fantastical animated world, where if I was to see Frasier's version of Beast. Sorry, I can't think of the actor's name off the top of my head. Kelsey Grammer. If Kelsey Grammer's version of the Beast jumped into a Sentinel and just grabbed its wires to control it, we would be like, "What is this?" No, like,
that's not how technology works.
We were living in a real world. Like, if he had a computer or something in there, I could believe it. But like, yeah, in a cartoon, you could just kind of go crazy. Like, yeah, I believe that's how it works. Yeah. So that is the advantage you get when you kind of lean into the animation medium.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's nothing new for like the X-Men 97 like franchise canonically, because they did stuff like that back in the 90s too. But it's just cool to see stuff like that back.
Yeah, it was so cool to watch this 30-second thing and seeing the X-Men team go up against these Sentinels, because like in a movie you wouldn't believe someone's punching a big metal robot like Rogue does, right? Or like Wolverine, his little claws are gonna do any damage like they kind of do in a cartoon. So it was just so cool to watch that and get me hyped. I feel really good about coming into this show this week, and then also for those people who are excited. I think even Marvel's excited, but this could also just be their animation production cycle. Season 2 is they're finalizing work on it, right? Like, we already knew there was getting a season 2. Another 10 episodes. Get the cast in, do the animation pipeline, churn it out whenever it comes out. But season 3 is also in talks. So that means, it sounds like Marvel Animation, they have a pretty confident stance on this.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. The only other thing right now that we kind of have within the same maybe vertical with Marvel Animation would just be What If, correct?
Marvel Zombies is coming, but that's somewhere in the pipeline. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is in the pipeline somewhere, but currently out there, I think it's just What If.
Yeah, I saw they didn't obviously release any footage of the show from people that were at the premiere, but there were some clips up where it showed just the Marvel Animation kind of title crawl on the screen, in some short promo clips that I saw of people in the theater. And it was just kind of cool to see that, Marvel Animation tag, because we're used to seeing Marvel Studios before a live action movie, and now we have like this new tag that embraces the Marvel Animation.
Wasn't that before What If Season 2? I believe.
Maybe it could have.
I think they had those during season 2. What If? Yeah.
But now that we're seeing it in front of like another property, it actually kind of is starting to feel like a solidified kind of business unit in a way. Like, oh no, we didn't just make up the term Marvel Animation just so we could append it to this one show idea. Now it's like we're trying to build out a whole
what you're getting into
ecosystem
when you come
over
into
here.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's pretty cool. And with this X-Men 97 launching comes some interesting business news, is what I'm going to call this. Several people sent this article to me. The showrunner, writer, whatever you want to call them for this, because this was kicked off back before their new TV model, but seems to be doing okay. Beau DeMayo has left the series essentially a few weeks ago, and the VP of animation is Brad Winderbaum, I believe is his name. Has recently said quote unquote break the silence, if you will, that it was not a mutual understanding, but it was not a firing. They just let him go, and he's essentially deleted his social media. He's disappeared without any fanfare a couple weeks ago. Right before, like, again, you mentioned the red carpet this week, right? The debut. All the interviews and stuff are coming out. He's not a part of it. He's just been erased from this, essentially, leading up to this. So, two things I want to point out for people in the business sense. If the show is bad, you don't fire them the week before it comes out, right? You want to save face. You want to. If the show's bad, you tell them you suck it up and you go out there and say it's the best thing you've ever seen. You don't want to lose viewers. So this is likely either a behind the scenes issue. Rumor is not rumor. He actually ran a non-nude OnlyFans thing, like where he did his own stuff, but it's like not a sexual OnlyFans. But they said that he was doing some weird stuff on there, possibly, or as we mentioned, possibly a lawsuit incoming towards him, because they don't just do this close to a show release without something bad happening.
It's weird. It seems like something timing related too, because if this was an issue, it seems like you would have done this way sooner to keep it, out of the news cycle so close to the premiere of the show. And the fact that the social media is deleted, they're kind of just trying to fall off the radar. This really doesn't seem like, oh, he's going to come back at Marvel with a lawsuit. So, it seems like something has kind of gone down interpersonally in some way. Luckily, I mean, I don't want to denigrate a creator of an animated show, but I think everyone that works in animation would say it's like one of the biggest collaborative efforts out there. And there's so many people that work on any singular animated project. It is really hard just to kind of give one person the credit for anything. So I would imagine if this first season is really good, or whatever they end up doing next without this creator, I think we still have a really good shot of keeping consistency moving forward. So I'm not too worried about it. I mean, X-Men 97 is like high profile to us, but like I can't go up to a random person on the sidewalk and be like, did you hear about this? They're going to be like, first of all, you got to explain what X-Men 97 is. They're not even going to know who this person is.
Beau DeMayo. Are you making something up? Do you have the DeMayo ick, Mike? Is that what it is?
Yeah, there's the grocery store's right down the street. Keep walking. I think you can get some DeMayo down there.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is going to be concerning to most people. So
right, absolutely. And like I said, I think most people are like, oh my God, the show's in trouble. I'm like, no, they don't fire them like this or let them go when the quality of the show is in trouble like that. Like it's usually something else, right at that point. Like we talked about what's her name, Madam Web herself letting go her talent agency after the first trailer, right? Like she didn't wait till the movie came out to get rid of them. Like she got on that. And then also kind of in this world of Hollywood, it's union based, right? Everything in there is union based. So usually your union, has your back for some things, but this is just a bunch of red flags here. We don't know what it is. We can't talk to the details, but if more comes up, we will let you guys know. But does not hurt my excitement for the show, I guess, at the end of the day. Since Brad Winderbaum is out there, he's doing interviews and stuff like that. He's been talking about what it's like to work in Marvel Studios, especially from whenever it originated for the Disney Plus streaming service, the content, and then also now with the new Bob Iger returning and what that looks like. So he has essentially confirmed that they are working on a Nova project at Marvel Studios. And what have I said before, Mike? If we've heard, despite Bob Iger saying there is going to be less content, more quality, we've heard more project names pop up than anything, right? Like more rumors about more and more projects than we could even shake a stick at.
It seems like there's almost like this, like I'm imagining like some sort of like giant like work table that all of these movies and projects are sitting on, and like the table's just being shook now, and things are starting to like fall off, and it's just like oh it's gone, it's fallen, hit the floor, it's cracked, it's broken.
It's like a game of Pong, so they're slamming project ideas on each other, and if it bounces off, we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, I did see this news kind of out there in my news feed a little bit, and I was reading through the comments just to see maybe what some of the sentiments were out there in the world. And one really struck me, which was back in the day, if we would have gotten this news like, pre-Endgame, kind of in that zone, or maybe just after Endgame, we would have been like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see them do this character justice. Yeah. Hell, I'm sure you could like go on our website and just search the keyword Nova, and we probably have news around that time.
I bet it's tied to James Gunn too. I bet it's almost Guardians related, but yeah.
But now that the MCU is in such disarray at the moment, like now the sentiment in the comments were just like, I'm nervous now, like, Nova, or I think maybe Richard Rider is maybe the character that's kind of being floated for this. Like, he's one of my favorite. I'm worried what they're going to do. So little trepidatious out there for Nova fans right now, because they don't really know how the giant MCU cruise ship is going to be floating in the next couple years.
And here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's what Brad said. So Marvel Studios, he has said that they are more like a traditional studio now. They're developing more than we will actually produce. So this lines up with everything that we've heard. Like, we hear they're throwing everything at all, right? They're trying to develop a Ghost Rider. They're developing Nova. They're developing any and everything that we've heard over the past several months. And, we're like, well, that's concerning. That's a lot of things are developing. However, this kind of gives me that confirmation. They're trying to develop these things, and if it doesn't work, it falls off the table, like you mentioned, Mike, right? We're not feeling it. This is not going to be good. We know early on we're going to remove it from the table, kind of deal. So that's how more studios work. They'll develop more, and you didn't used to hear anything. That you would never have the scoops or the reports that you do now, like you have from Marvel, right? About these things being developed, and they would be slowly or silently killed off because they didn't get traction, or they couldn't find the funding, or it just wasn't working out. They just nix them, and you never hear about it before the internet. So this just sounds like Nova is something on that table, like you mentioned, but still has a potentiality for not making it to the filming stage, if you will, down the road.
It seems like nothing is guaranteed right now.
Exactly. So I think we're going to hear a lot more things, and I don't think we're going to see maybe 10% of them, if that, maybe more, maybe less, but I think we're going to be hearing a lot more rumors or from that. And honestly, the other thing he said about the early days of Disney Plus, which, that's kind of where you mentioned the Endgame, the flag, right? The red flag started popping up after Endgame, not quickly, but, as the COVID production started coming through and the rest of Disney Plus, is that he says, I mean, frankly, in all honesty, there was a mandate to kind of create as much as we could for Disney Plus as quickly as we could, under Bob Chapek's leadership, if you will. It's implied. He didn't say it out loud. I don't think he named names, but that makes sense. That's
a big red flag, a big ick for me. And like the quickly, that is the big part, right? Because it was like a double fold, just double down in a way of like, new CEO comes in, we have a new streaming service, we need to prop this thing up as high as possible. Then all of a sudden, on top of that mandate, a pandemic comes through, everyone's at home, all streaming companies like stock prices are going through the roof because their valuations are like so artificially high placed on this temporary behavior.
It pulled all the subscribers forward, right? Like, if you weren't on the fence to begin with, you're like, oh, we have to get it now because we have nothing we can do. And normally they might have been a 2 or 3 year kind of grab, but
and now it is literally the definition of quantity over quality. I was thinking about this the other day. I really can't remember the last time I was particularly excited about anything live action for Marvel. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was good. I liked it. I had a great time. But even I know intellectually in the back of my head, since we talk about this stuff all the time, I was like, oh, this is so far removed from the drama of the MCU because the script was written so long ago. James Gunn is like a carryover from back when the MCU was still operating at
he's seasoned
this
too.
Good momentum.
He's seasoned at Marvel. He knew what to do. It's not like someone had to hold his hands for it.
Yeah, exactly. So that is like that's the odd man out to me, to be honest. So it's like, Echo was fine. I liked it, but you don't see me running to the message boards trying to theorize how this connects to there's just not a lot of energy behind the live action stuff.
And I can't really point an Echo, but I would say maybe the release of the Marvels and Echo being so close to each other, right? I'm which one really came out first? Which one did I see? You just, there's too much overlap. I would even say, What If Season 2? It was the Marvels, What If Season 2, and Echo, I think within a month, maybe 2 months of each other, right? That's a lot of stuff, even for us who watches this and reports this pretty regularly. I would say, are you not excited about Deadpool then? Just curious.
I am excited about Deadpool. I'm hoping that this is the big tonal shift that kind of changes everyone's perception. If it's a good movie, which I feel like if you're a betting person, if you've been reading the headlines, if you're Bruno Mars in Vegas, if you want to win some of your money back from MGM, start putting some money down on Deadpool 3 doing really well at the box office.
I've heard that Marvel, this isn't our news, but Marvel is so happy with the work from what's the producer's name? Levy? It's not Sam Levy.
Yeah, Sean Levy.
Sean Levy. Right. That they want him to do more work later. That he's just just kill it. I mean, that's good, right? You want to be hired back in that kind of regard. So good for him.
It seems like they have faith. Yeah, I feel like that movie, Deadpool, could be generating some of the positive headlines that we haven't seen in a while of just Marvel finally rights the ship. Things finally go back in the right direction. Just be prepared for those headlines that the movie's good. And hopefully they can carry that momentum because they're lucky that they don't have anything coming up right after it. They have time to plan and be more strategic. But we're going to be talking more about Deadpool here in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is one of the productions that has kind of turned around, right? It feels like there's no, I guess, there's not a group of people running Deadpool. It feels like it's Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds doing Deadpool, all that they want to do. So pretty excited. But honestly, the idea here of someone, a very high person, I think Brad's a VP of Marvel Animation, or maybe the president of it, I don't know, saying that this stuff out loud that we've only been theorizing, right? That we've only heard whispers of, is good confirmation that we are hopefully returning to that quality over quantity state that they've said so much about, if you will.
We gotta hope. We gotta hope.
Well, I also saw, I didn't include the image here, but it's another thing is that the return of investment, I think on Marvel has been 5x since they bought it, for however much money several years ago. So that's pretty good. For them. I don't think it'll stop making money, but we need to, like you mentioned, right the ship, if you will. And it sounds like they are taking time to do that. Something else that literally is, I would say, a catalyst for the turn of Marvel TV on Disney Plus is Daredevil Born Again. And Jon Bernthal is back to tease his character with a photo of the infamous 1-batch, 2-batch storybook from the Netflix series. So,
well, it's funny that you kind of mirror this with what Deadpool might do for Marvel films, because it's almost the same DNA. It's a Marvel property coming from a different studio, transitioning back into Disney, and they're kind of reinvigorating it in a way. So yeah, that could be the kind of twin head of the snake,
Yeah. Right. And remember, I mean, the reports are they scrapped half of what they filmed or more. They retooled the team. They're making their TV like a real TV shows now, rather than applying the fix it and post approach. So hopefully Daredevil Born Again kicks off, and Jon Bernthal, great Punisher, right? He embodies that street level Punisher really, really well. So excited to see him come back with this and carry that torch forward. Rumor territory. Shang-Chi and the Wreckage of Time is the rumored title. We've talked about this before, right? For the upcoming movie. But the production is not rumored, but set to begin in 2025, next year. So it sounds like they're going to kick this off. Destin Daniel Cretton, he left the Avengers 5 movie to come back and work on this, right? Because of the scheduling, and he wants to work on his own projects. But rumor, Mike, is time travel will be involved, and Iron Fist, but most likely a previous incarnation, not Danny Rand. So
That's a clever way to get around the Danny Rand, possibly Netflix of it all. You just go back in time and get a different one.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and I say time travel. Maybe it could be future time travel. It wasn't necessarily specific. So maybe it's forward time travel as well, which would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Since we haven't done that.
I feel like I have like two thoughts on this film. The first thought is I keep watching the I'm Just Ken performance from the Oscars last week, which is great. I watched the official version that's like up on YouTube. I've seen a lot of different POVs from the audience because that song is just great. An amazing performance on that stage. But also Simu Liu is up there because he was the adversarial Ken, if nobody remembers out there. So I just keep thinking of Simu Liu. He's kind of got this smaller but supportive part in Barbie. He was in the Wreckage of Time. Like, I feel like this is really going to be something that can solidify him a little bit more. Yeah. I feel like he's really close to being a household name. Not quite. We know who he is because we love him. But he's close. So if this sequel just like really nails it, he can kind of be one of those maybe big megastars out there in the world. I think he's really charming. He's really cool. I follow him on social media, so I'm a fan.
He's got the acting chops. He's got the action chops, right? As we saw from the 10 Rings. I'm excited. I'm excited to revisit that. When we came out of Phase 4, that's still one of the solid ones, right? There was Black Widow, and then this really surprise hit for Shang-Chi. Really excited to kind of revisit those things. Obviously his bangles might be powered by Kang stuff. We've always talked about where do the rings come from? What are they doing?
Sort of cosmic origin,
or multiversal origin, if you will. They're even in what was it? Miss Marvel, right? Whenever they were talking about her, the interdimensional Noir people in that show. So
yep, that's true.
A lot
obviously,
they could do.
We have the big title, The Wreckage of Time. I'm just so curious because we just wrapped up Loki season 2 not too long ago, and that feels like it's alternate timelines. They always talk about timelines, even though it's technically multiversal. I feel like they don't really lean into that language all that often. So this also has time in the title. I need them to figure out, what do they want to do? Do they want to do time travel stories, or do they want to do multiversal stories? I'm still a little lost here.
That's fine. I think we'll give them some time travel on this one because that's rumor. I think this will be taking place in between the two Avengers movies. I think this is the one that will link Avengers 5 to Secret Wars, right? A little bit, because if there's a wreckage of time, that implies there's probably already problems going on, and he's caught in the middle of it with possibly the ability to withstand the multiversal / time travel effects with his 10 rings or something. So I think the sentiment's the same. We're excited for this, no matter what the title is at the end of the day, to get back in there and see those martial arts really come to life in that. But you mentioned titles. Avengers 5, I wouldn't say this is official, but there's no longer titled Kang Dynasty on internal documents. When I was talking about the return of Avengers properties, the purchase of Marvel, the purchase of Star Wars, on the upcoming releases, they only included the Avengers 5 and Avengers Secret Wars. So Secret Wars still is the title for 6, but internally they're referring to it as Avengers 5 to take Kang completely off all the documents.
I mean, if I had to be just like an internet just scooper, I would just be like, oh, it's Doom Dynasty. The alliteration is there, ready to go. But that seems too easily swappable.
Too soon
I would
for
imagine.
Doom, I think.
Yeah, it is really funny though to imagine my future child, once they reach the age where they start like binge watching all these superhero movies, they're gonna get to like Quantum Mania and a little bit of Loki, and then like, oh, it was weird. Yeah, that Kang villain. They just kind of came in for a TV show and a movie, and then they just disappeared. I wonder why. And I'll be like, well, honey, I have a
Go
podcast
listen to the show,
that
you
can listen to your dad back in the day talk about this.
Well, yeah, and I think also, if you, from an outsider's point of view, if you look at Quantum Mania, and Loki, other than the ending, the post-credit scene of Quantum Mania, Kang is essentially gone, right? They kind of dealt with him in both shows. So if he didn't show up, I understand it. But I think my tinfoil hat here is they're not recasting him, right? Everyone's like, oh, they'll recast him. We talked about Coleman Domingo as a potentiality. We've talked about his contract being, oh, we can't rehire, they can't recast him. Sounds like they're not going to recast him if they're changing the title completely. Like if that was my hat.
Unless there's like some sort of, because we talked about the mystery behind the contract, what could or couldn't be in it for others portraying Kang. I wonder if maybe there's a time stipulation to it, like 5, 6, 8 years. Maybe there's an expiration to that, because there has to be at some point. It has to expire. The MCU is going to end in the death of the universe of our sun exploding. So at some point in time, someone's going to have to re-portray Kang.
And I also think, it does the bad actor clause in the contract come out, right? Like, Disney has enough money to throw this and be like, yeah, you did bad stuff. You were convicted of it even. Like, we can't help you. But like, I just feel like, everyone's like, oh, they'll just get a new Kang. It's easy. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to retool it and go a different direction at the end of it.
I mean, Kang is a great character. We always talk about his story arcs in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Yeah. I think it's a waste not to use him at some point in time. So we are always theorizing about the MCU live action, reboot in the future after Secret Wars, when the universes collide and they kind of try to restart this huge money making machine. That sounds like a perfect time to bring Kang back, So, and then that would make sense if it's like a different actor and everything like that.
Again, I think the killer thing is here: you bring a different actor, you give him a fake name, and at the end you reveal it's Kang, like setting up stuff along the way. You don't give him a movie where he's the villain and then hope he comes back as more of a villain.
Yeah, you could start with the original origin where what is just like some deity in like Egypt or something.
Well, there's that. Rama Tut, there's Immortus. I think Iron Lad started off as a kid version, who it grows up to be, Kang down the road. Like his younger self time traveled, and he's using that to set up a good future for himself. That gives you a different actor and a different name kind of thing, who isn't technically Kang, if you wanted to. I'd also say the end of Quantumania, we've seen this before in other movies where, especially MODOK, Kang didn't really die. He just went into the time engine, and he's maybe outside of the universe. Like, he's a Beyonder. He could come in as the Beyonder if you want to. In that, because the Beyonder is a part of the Secret Wars stuff, so that's how you'd say, oh, he's the Beyonder now because he went outside the universe. But I don't know. It's Avengers 5, Mike, and that's all we got at this point in time. Moving on, Deadpool and Wolverine. We were talking about earlier. The rumor is Henry Cavill is joining the MCU, and the middle of the road average scooper has said that he will be a Logan variant in this movie, Mike. I would say take this with 2 grains of salt, because the person this came from is very, very sketchy, but I want to jump ahead of this before people started sharing someone who gets stuff right 25% of the time could still be right, but like, you're going to start seeing these things on social media. Everyone's like, oh, Henry Cavill's Wolverine, all this other stuff, when it's probably not at the end of the day. He could literally be any other character in Marvel. Literally. Yeah.
Also, what is the nerdy journalistic integrity behind the phrase joining the MCU? Yeah. Right? If it's just like a cameo as, a Wolverine character, I wouldn't use the phrase joining the MCU. That makes me think there's a long-term contract and everything involved. Yeah. I would imagine there's going to be lots of fun cameos within the Deadpool movie of just like actors playing characters that you wouldn't expect, and then you never see them again, because like a Deadpool like is an action comedy, or maybe even more comedy than action. So I'm expecting lots of gags like that.
Yeah, I would say action comedy is a pretty good thing. And we even saw it in the trailer, right? Like, I never thought we'd see Pyro from X-Men, the original trilogy, ever again. And there he was. So, loving it. Henry Cavill, a lot of people are like, oh, if he's going to join the MCU, is he a Captain Britain, who's like a multiversal character? Is he, Hyperion, which is another character who was actually multiversal in a big part of the Secret Wars in the mid 2010s. So he could literally, Henry Cavill could be anyone he wants to play, if they have the right role for him, right, at the end of the day. So
I mean, I've heard from people, he might be more trouble than he's worth on set. So maybe he doesn't need to join the MCU at all.
Yeah. Maybe it is the cameo of that rather than the full joining, like you mentioned, and we just kind of keep it at that for a little bit. But yeah, absolutely. That's the rumors right now. So if you start seeing that stuff, take your facts from us and be like, well, we don't know yet, but we'll get there. Venom: The Last Dance. That's the title for Venom 3. Obviously, it really indicates that this is the last Venom we're gonna get with Tom Hardy. At the end of the day, sounds like this will be it, Mike. It'll be.
I like to imagine there was another title on the whiteboard that this is the title we use if Madam Web goes well and we want to keep this universe growing, and this is the one we use where if everything is imploding in our Spider universe, we use this title because that's kind of what it feels. That's kind of what it feels like. Yeah. Like, what did they do? Like, everyone was talking about maybe they're trying to build some sort of like Sinister Six movie and bring all these characters together. I think they should just cut to the chase, take what they have now and put it in the last Venom movie. I mean, they've already burned Carnage. That Carnage honestly kind of feels like it would have been the better topper for a Venom trilogy. I mean, I don't think the movies are any good anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But go ahead and put Morbius and the Vulture and
we'll barely
Craven.
We'll barely have
Craven
Craven by now, though, so I don't think they're gonna have time to do that. But I mean, to me, this seems like Sony's like, all right, Tom, whatever you want to do, because, well, they still like to control things, but like, Tom, like, you want to do this, go ahead and do it. Call it what you want. I think he even like wrote some of the script on this one for the first time. So yeah, sure, why not? I mean, Venom's gonna do what Venom's gonna do. I actually, again, have more faith in this than after watching Madam Web, which is on pay-per-view, by the way. Did you know that? It came out this week on PVOD for less than a month after it was out. So that's exciting for people who really want to watch it. But it also moved up to October 25th, 2024 instead of November 8th, so that puts it in that Halloween range for people who want to go watch a black gooey monster for Halloween. So
yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. I expect Deadpool trailer. Deadpool will be too late to have a trailer, so maybe we get a trailer in May, like a normal like summer movie would be there. You think? I can't think of any other Sony film offhand.
Oh God, yeah, I don't know. Well, we were originally going to have a Spider-Verse movie this year. Which is laughable at this point in time. So maybe that's when they would have started the marketing train. Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on the marketing train for this. But given the title means probably posters coming next. Release date. Hey, we changed the release date. Hey, go update all the materials real fast. We're gonna start this in a week. So if we get any more of this, we'll share it. But we'll keep you guys posted and see kind of what that looks like going forward. Spider-Man Noir. We've talked about this before. This is not real news, but Nicolas Cage this week has confirmed he's in early talks with Amazon to play the Spider-Man Noir after he voiced the character in the Into the Spider-Verse movie.
It's hard for me to take anything Nick Cage says seriously now. I think he was, I don't know if he was interviewed recently or something, but somebody asked him like, oh, there's a rumor that there's this film, I can't remember the name of the film, one of his earlier films in his career, that you didn't even get paid for it. Or something like that. And he said like, oh, that sounds about right. That could have happened. So like, he's like, I feel like he's just like so detached. I mean, obviously it was a while ago, but I would remember if I didn't get paid for a job I did. I feel like that would kind of like, stick in my side for a long time and I'd never let it go. Like I never got paid. So I could see Nick Cage going like, yeah, I'm in talks, which meant like his agent shot him a text message like, oh, there's this Spider-Man thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my guess is that he's like, yeah, I want to. He bought all those castles. He was in debt for a while, right? Buying all the old. I think he even was buying like fossils of dinosaurs or something. Weird.
Yeah, there's like a T-Rex head that's pretty iconic in his backstory.
Yeah, so like I know he was doing all that stuff, so I could see him trying to take anything he can get. Right now, he's not doing. The Incredible Weight of Massive Talent was a good movie, enjoyable movie. He was in.
He's in his Renaissance right now, so I'm sure he's busy and just
he's very
happy for the
very
attention.
self-aware of himself, right? Like of what people think he is now, which has come back around where he was like, Face Off and Gone in 60 Seconds era of where he was too serious. Yeah, we can see. I mean, if he wants to do it, that's fine. That'd actually probably get me more invested in it than if somebody I didn't know was playing this character, Mike.
Yeah, true.
Because this reminds me essentially of what was that? The Alfred show, Pennyworth. Like,
Oh yeah,
we're watching Spider-Man Noir without Spider-Man. So if you got a good actor, interesting actor to play it, yeah, I'll watch that. But everything else is kind of like, yeah, not really in there.
all of these Spider-Man stuff on Amazon Prime, because this is like one of those Prime ones, right? Mm-hmm. It all seems like a threat to me. It doesn't feel like something exciting at the moment. So,
right. Well, we're gonna do Silk Society, where it's for the male audience. Mike, don't forget that.
Yes.
We're doing it. We're doing it for the men, and that's that one. But we'll say one more thing on Spider-Man thing here, Mike. The video game, Spider-Man 2, came out last year. If you're interested in a PS5, for those who don't know, the digital versions are bundled with Spider-Man 2 and are on sale right now. So that'd be a good way to get your intro into this. Spider-Man 2 is a great game, but the Insomniac leak that happened last year gave us a bunch of insights into the Wolverine game and all the other Spider-Man stuff they're working on. So one of them that was the rumored work on was canceled was called The Great Web, which was a multiplayer game set in Spider-Man 2. And not only did we get the first trailer for it, which shows off Peter Spider-Man, Miles Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider, Spider-Man 29, Scarlet Spider, but also a second trailer / video that confirms like all the story mode that goes along with like so much Yuri Lowenthal voiceover for this game that is just not coming out at the end of the day. I would love to play a multiplayer Spider-Man game in this universe, Mike. I don't know about you.
It kind of
be fun.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know a whole lot about video game development and at what point they start making decisions along the process. But this kind of feels like somebody had like an idea of like, oh, we should make a multiplayer component of this game. We got all the pieces here. The PS5 can finally handle this like full city that we've built. Let's start putting it together.
Yeah.
Somebody pitched it and they started working on it, and then it started growing and growing and growing to the point where like it was so big, like it seemed like this wasn't even going to live on that game. It was going to be like its own standalone like disc or download that you do. I'm sure they would have put a bunch of microtransactions in it, and it probably all would have been skins because these trailers that we have here feature a lot of different suits that weren't in the game. And then all of a sudden, I wonder what happened, because it seemed like the mission that you do in the game with all of the spider bots was going to possibly tee into this, since they're talking very much about the multiverse. Some of the gameplay mechanics of when you're on that Black Cat mission where you're jumping through like portals and stuff, feels like maybe there would have been something kind of similar to that, because you see like portals featured in like these trailers. So I'm just curious where it went, why the videos are still up on social media. There hasn't been like some sort of great like, oh, let's sweep these away. So it makes me think maybe it is coming. They're just not ready for it yet. Maybe they're just strategically waiting to put something out at the right time.
I'm pretty sure it's canceled, but you know how Deadpool got made? Someone leaked something and got the internet hyped for it. And then
maybe the project manager that was on this was like, no, I want this out there.
Yeah, well, hey, on paper, the leak, it made it sound bad, but the title was canceled. But the trailer, the footage is lingering. They're not taking it down. Like maybe they're getting some data analytics out of this, right? Like, hey, are people actually into this now? Kind of thing. Like, is it exciting? To me, I think what would make this exciting is the world needs to be more full, because my biggest complaint about Spider-Man 2 is it felt empty at times, right? Because you're just swinging over the city and not a lot was going on. So if you're playing with other people, I don't want to just be swinging next to you, Mike. I can do that myself all day. I don't need someone else there. So like, what two-player things are we doing? Are we doing two different things across the city? Like there's two different bombs or two different things happening, and then we have to meet up in the middle? Like, is that how it was going to play? Because the city just feels so empty for two people, if I'm going to be completely honest, at the end of the day. one of the comments on YouTube, from Superfan Jim, there was a Spider-Bot collection side quest in the game. Do you remember doing some of those in there? They had different spider suits. That was part of it. The theory about this is, and I hadn't really gotten into it too much, is that the Scarlet Witch was a character in this, and she opened up different portals to different universes, bringing their villains in, like the Vulture, Rhino, or other spider villains, if you will. And that would have been cool. I mean, if I have to just go off of the footage that we have, right? Yeah. This is all we kind of have to judge. I would say this is a really clever idea with the resources that they have from the previous games. Like the trailer features only villains that we fought. I suppose there could be a possibility of new villains added to it. Seasonal villains, Mike. It's a live service game, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, do I want to play more Spider-Man? Do I want to have a reason to jump into the city and kind of not just be in this nebulous post-game time span? Yeah, I think that would be pretty fun, but nothing in this really screams oh, I gotta have this. It just kind of seems like, oh, it'd be nice to have it. Like if they're, back in the day, old retro games is what it feels like now. You would just get on your video game, you would play it, and then after you finish the story, oh wow, there's a multiplayer component, let's play that. Now it's not only has it totally flipped, now they're two totally distinct items. Nobody even thinks about the Call of Duty story mode anymore. They just want to play Warfare,
Warzone,
or Warzone. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Well, that's how Fortnite started the same way, right? It was a single player game, and then they added in Battle Royale. Now nobody even knows Save the World exists.
I feel like because we saw that leak of their kind of their kind of time track of what they want to do. This almost seems like the perfect game to release once they're all done with their whole story, right? You get all of the villains, you get all of these character models, you have all of these assets that you've developed over a decade, it seems like. Then you end it with the cherry on top with this multiplayer game where you can bring all of this stuff in and experience it in a new fun way. But that could run into their contract deal, right? Maybe they won't have the ability to do that.
And I think honestly, to me, the other part of this is there's a DLC. There's DLC coming out for Spider-Man 2. I'm pretty sure this new one is about a character called the Beetle, who is the daughter of Hammerhead, or not Hammerhead, Tombstone. It was a big part of the game. So you can see that in the code for the new one if you get into the developer code. But there's also a rumor of a Carnage DLC because we had Venom in the main story. So a rumor of a Carnage DLC. Get all the DLC out and then add this in. When the game's kind of on its I wouldn't say last legs, but we're still not close enough to Spider-Man 3. In 2027 or whatever it was, 28. Do this to kind of reinvigorate people back into Spider-Man, right? Get them ready to bridge into that, kind of like how Miles was, if you will. Miles had it was a smaller campaign. This would be hey, here's some story modes. You already have the game. We're gonna throw it in for free as a free update multiplayer, but obviously we have the shop to support it if you want to buy your skins. That's where I think this lives at the end, near the end of its lifespan, to pump some juice into it without having to tell a story before you jump into Spider-Man 3 and then all your stuff carries over with you. So, but sadly we will never know. But I would love DLC for this game. If I was my core would be yes, give me more. I want to go play Spider-Man 2 again. I know there's New Game Plus, but that's not enough for me to want to dive in and, like you said, bite my teeth into new content in this new city. Along the way. Superman is filming, Mike. We know this. And one of the things that we get when filming are people out doing things. And we had our first look at actress Maria Gabriela de Fria as the engineer on set. And it looks like she has some CGI stuff around her waist there. The black and white things are going to probably key out. Maybe it's something that makes her look like she's about to fly or shoot blasts out of her hands.
Yes. Some sort of support system that she's lashed into there, and she's something shooting out of her hand. I'm not familiar with the character. I just did a quick Google, and it looks like a Silver Surfer type, but it looks like there is nanotechnology.
She's like a
Jarvis.
Jarvis if Jarvis was just silver rather than look up the character Jocasta, Jocasta, for Marvel, and they kind of look like the same thing,
Yeah,
an android who's silver, and then everything's metal,
that's kind of what it feels like. So obviously, this character is not in any sort of like green or keyed out motion capture suit. So this seems like the character starts off as a human, maybe transitions into a different type of character. There seems to be a version in the comic books that seems to be a bit more modern, that is less chromed out and maybe a little bit more like, oh, there's some muscle tone in this person, and there's like, almost like an outfit that they wear, but they're still kind of shiny. So
I mean, at the end of the day, it's nanobots. They're going to key nanobots all over this person and whatever's coming out of her hands, right? That's her powers. So she's part of the Authority, who's like the superhero team in this, which I think they're getting their own movie as well in the DCU. So she might carry over, but yeah, it's cool to see people on set in their outfits. Very, very nondescript, kind of no details to pull out of here. But like, if this is happening, guess what we're going to be getting next, Mike? We're going to get those real Superman on set photos. We're going to be getting probably the Green Lantern. What's his name? James Gunn's friend, who was he was just in Guardians 3. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank here.
He's got a lot of friends.
Firefly, the guy from Firefly.
Nathan Fillion?
Yeah, Nathan Fillion is a Green Lantern. He was cast as a Green Lantern. So like, we're gonna see him with the red bowl cut, that Green Lantern kind of thing. So,
yeah.
I want to see those guys. This is the least interesting character to look at to me. But that means I'm excited for more to come out right along the way. As someone, Superfan Jim is commenting on YouTube. Yes, it's Nathan Fillion. People are yelling at me online because if you haven't heard, I've got allergies. I sound like I have a cold, so you gotta bear with me while I'm
Yeah.
All right, moving on. I'll show you anything else, Mike. We can talk about the Batman 2, which you dropped at the top of the show a little bit.
Yeah.
We talked about it. So it has been delayed a year to October 2026. Not fun. The reports are, Mike, and you let me know what you think of this. Warner Brothers did not secure the lot space for filming in time after the strike delays.
That's really funny to me. A huge tentpole superhero movie gets delayed because like somebody didn't get to the paperwork in time. Like, I feel like there's lots of stories out there in the world of like, we forgot to renew the domain name, so now the entire business doesn't exist anymore, or things like that. I want to believe this exists because it kind of humanizes these entire like mega corporations
but it's also Warner Brothers. They're like, we want to cut everything and delete things to save money. How can we get off with not spending money? We'll just find the cheapest lot. Oh wait, now there's no lots to film on because we waited too long and tried to get a deal and it didn't work out. So that's a bummer.
I mean most time, if this is the theme of the podcast, just time. Mostly extra time does not end up hurting,
right?
A creative endeavor, unless you're talking about something that has kids that are rapidly aging, that you have to update the story to fit their ages. But yeah, this could work out in its favor. I mean, back in the day, you had to wait many, many years before your next Batman movie. So, maybe we'll keep this going with whatever third Batman movie. I hope this at least gets a trilogy. Give us a classic Batman trilogy like they did back in the day. And
it feels
at this rate, it will come out in 2029.
Well, and that's it's fine. Again, I agree with you. Delays aren't bad. I also don't feel they're rushing this, right? Like we've been sitting waiting for this announcement. This was pre James Gunn Batman, so it's carrying over. I'm looking up. So my concern is going to be James Gunn has his Batman Brave and the Bold. Are they going to release 2 Batman movies that year then?
Oh, you got a good point there.
Because they can't really wait forever on that Batman either, right, for the DCU. So to me, delaying it a year is going to hurt one of the 2 Batman because this is obviously very much not the DCU Batman. It's very dark and moody and dramatic. Whereas the Brave and the Bold is probably going to, it's Batman with a kid who's an assassin are going to be together. So it's going to be a very different tone. So my fears are going to put them both out the same year, and people are going to be like, "Why are we getting 2 Batman movies this year?"
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't work for the Flash having the Batman in it. So I don't think having 2 Batman movies is going to make it even better either. But oh well.
Yeah. So there might be some adjustments over there.
Yeah, I would see this. I would probably see Batman 2 being moved up, or them building a set to film movies in, right? Like building like their own little set. So like, hey, we don't want to delay a year. Maybe it'll come out in March. Wasn't the last one in March or something like that? It's like a spring movie.
I think so. Yeah.
So they could probably move it up 6 months and still be pretty good at the end of the day. Lastly, Jurassic World 4, Jurassic Park 7, Jurassic City, whatever the title is going to be for this, has importantly secured Scarlett Johansson. Or she's at least in talks to lead the next movie, so it means they'll probably snag her because they have to start filming this summer to hit next year's release date, Mike. Cool, I guess.
I mean, that's a star. I mean, I wonder. I mean, we knew we probably weren't going to be getting Chris Pratt back. Some people wondered if Howard, what's her first name? Bryce Dallas Howard, if she was maybe going to return as a character. But then also the rumors like, oh, maybe she could just direct it. You know, she's a director. She could just direct a Jurassic Park movie. So,
well, I think it's Gareth Edwards. I think it's Gareth Edwards directing it.
Oh, yeah, we did kind of talk about that last week. But I wonder if this is our like new lead, or is Scarlett going to be holding down our Jurassic franchise for the next like decade or however long they want to plan this into the future? No, this is what you do. This is the idea. Everyone is so used to the way like franchises and all this world building works. Like even some random people off the street probably have some preconceived notions that if they saw Scarlett Johansson in a new Jurassic Park movie, she'd be sticking around for multiple ones. You kill her in the first act, just huge movie star, eaten by a big dinosaur, and then you just keep the movie going.
They Bryan Cranston her like they did in Godzilla, which was also Gareth Edwards.
Oh yeah, so he's got the he's got the history to it. That would be lovely. Just really make it feel like, I'm gonna be around here for a while. I'm gonna change this city. I'm gonna get all these dinosaurs out of it, and then chomp, gone. Then it's just a cast of nobodies that they have to build up.
They gotta keep it. They gotta keep it cheap to film in a year. Have this out next summer is really concerning for me. We mentioned Batman being delayed. Delays are never a bad thing. Jurassic City coming out in a year. It's gonna be a CG dinosaur fest at the end of the day, and that's not the fun. We want the magic of Jurassic Park. We've talked about this till we're blue in the face.
I think the last time we talked about Scarlett Johansson's career in general wasn't like we were saying like she was like patching her relationship with Disney, now that like a new CEO had like returned and she had like projects and development and stuff like that.
She's producing something in the Black Widow realm or a movie at Marvel. Yeah, she's a producer on it.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe this is kind of like a courting from Universal of just like, hey, we won't, screw you over with like streaming releases. We'll pay you and we'll let you do what you want. Yeah, come over to your new home of Universal. It could be a new era for her.
I don't think she's I don't think her career is on the back foot. I don't think she's lost anything, right? But do you think she's going into like her action star career, kind of like how like the chick who played Furiosa, was in a bunch of action movies there for a little bit. So like,
it could be a possibility.
Like she's like, oh well, this is. We've talked about this being an extraction mission for like a military, right, out of the city. Is she gonna play like a military person who has to like she's picked because she's one of the best and has to go in and be a military?
She's got to be unassuming, but also you got to modernize it. She's probably gonna be like the world's most attractive like DoorDash driver that's just trying to deliver this burger.
So she's happenstance.
Because she's always late on her deliveries, and if she loses her 5-star rating, she's got to go back to her other job that's even worse. And she's fighting dinosaurs, and then as a funny gag at the very end, she finally delivers the burger. And the dude's just like, "What? This is cold," and then the dinosaur eats him.
Yeah, that'll be it. I'm sure of it, 100%, Mike. You've spoiled the whole movie for everybody across the world.
You're welcome.
I was gonna say her next movie this year. She's a voice in Transformers 1. That's coming out. I've not seen trailers on that. I'm gonna see what that looks like. Then she's also a producer and acting in a romantic comedy film directed by Greg Berlanti. So, we'll see how that kind of goes. But yeah, I mean, if she wants to do it, that's great. You know, I think everyone wants a Jurassic Park on their resume, good or bad, Mike. At the end of the day, even I can't think of his name. William Macy has one on his resume from Jurassic Park 3.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that is it. This has been a good birthday episode, Mike. This has been fun. I've had a good time. Thank you for showing up for me. I appreciate that as always. But it's time to go get some dinner and call it a day. But if people know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at?
Yeah, they can find my webcomics at Life Rewards Risk and pickledcomics.com. So go check that out. If people want to wish you a happy birthday, Chris, it'll probably be belated, possibly, when they're hearing this.
I'll take it.
Where can they do that?
You can do it at Instagram, Valdan87, VALDAN87, or Mike said, tell you tag Superhero Slate on any social. I'll see it. I'll see those notifications. You can also find me on video game systems of the same name, where I won't be playing Spider-Man: The Great Web because it's canceled. Boo. If people know more about the show, where they can tag us, like us, subscribe us, whatever they want to do with it, where can they get that good info at?
Oh, head on over to superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find all the other avenues we host our show and to get our awesome show notes. So if you want to see those Spider-Man 2 leaked videos, we got those linked in our show notes. Hopefully they're still there by the time you get to them. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love to listen to find podcasts. You can get merch, superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Reach out, join the live chat. We love hearing what you all are up to. If you want to be a super fan of this show, it's so easy. All you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we'll be here every week, folks.
That's right. We will see you guys next week.
Bye.